probably gonna end up putting people to sleep from how long this fucking story time's gonna be. What's up, guys? It's your boy Jocks here, and today, we got us another story time. Holy shit! It's not like it's just consistent of that mainstream garbage. So yeah, if you couldn't tell by the title of this video, today's story time is going to be about my college experience. Now, this is going to end up being a pretty long story time, because honestly, I just have a lot to rant and vent about, and this is more like, just specifically for my purpose, so I can get some fucking, like, I guess the best word is closure, okay? So, what I'm gonna try and do for this video is I'm gonna try to keep myself in a sort of orderly fashion. This isn't gonna be scripted, necessarily, but there's going to be markers to tell you what point of the story we're in, because, I don't know. It'll help keep me from fucking rambling off onto a complete different tangent about how circles and squares make up magic. Alright, so how about I actually start fucking talking about it? So, the first thing you need to know is that, as of right now, I'm 18 when this video comes out. Like, I'm not too old, but, you know, not too young either. Normally, kids of my age would probably be, you know, out working or, you know, going to, college. What am I talking about, kids? But, anyway, so, a couple weeks ago, I was in college. I'm not really anymore, and I'll get to that. So, what happened is that, around August 29th, I started college. I went to a community college, nothing special, and it was, it was an experience. That's all I really gotta say. I went to college. I originally majored in game design. I wanted to be a video game programmer, not really a programmer, more a designer, and I wanted to just basically make games. That was the original major I went in. That didn't really last long. I changed my major in the first week to culinary. Pretty big switch, but my classes didn't ever really change much, even with the major switch, because apparently all the classes I originally had, they pretty much already counted. I had preliminary English, because English is not my strong suit. I did pre-calc. I had this gym class called Concepts of Wellness. I also did a computer imaging class, and for culinary, because that's what I was mostly there for, I had a culinary lab and a culinary lecture. The lecture is where we just kind of talked about shit for about 3 hours, and the lab is basically like you were working in a kitchen, you know? You weren't getting paid, but you were in a kitchen doing shit. Like, you couldn't, like, pass that on as you weren't doing shit. If that makes fucking any sense. It was a pretty normal schedule. I mean, most of my days were 8 hours, and I didn't exactly have a lot of breaks in between, but, like, most of my days were kind of compact, so I would always be, working. I wouldn't really have a lot of breaks, except on Thursdays. Thursdays, I did have a break, a pretty long one, because I didn't have any culinary classes that day. Alright, basically, every morning, I would get up at, like, 6, and I would arrive at, my school at, like, 7 or 7:30, because I would basically have a relative drive me, because I didn't have a license at the time. And so they would drive me to the college early in the morning, because they had a job they had to go to, and bless their souls that they were able to drive me. I'd be there about an hour early before any of my classes started, because the earliest that classes started was 8, and most of my days went from 8 to about 4. Most of my days were 8 hours, but there were occasional days where it would only go to about 11, or I just didn't have class at all. So it kind of balanced itself out, I guess, but I don't know. It wasn't a perfect schedule, I guess. Did I enjoy it there? Not in the least bit. I enjoyed absolutely nothing about that. Oh boy, what happened? Okay, I just ended up dropping out. Nothing else happened. I just ended up dropping out. The whole situation was just bad for me. Just really bad. And what I'm about to do, I'm about to explain to you all this shit. Now, for some of you, you might think I'm just a little pussy bitch, but you know what? To me, I think I had every right to do what I did. Fuck you. Why did I leave? Oh boy, there are a number of reasons. How about I start at the very basic stuff, tuition. I wasn't paying for my tuition. I wasn't getting student loans. I was pretty much getting money from my family. My family was paying for my tuition, and you know, that's really nice and all, but you feel like shit for taking money from your family. Like, I don't think it was really taking, at least that's what they say it was. They were offering it, and some of you might think, fuck yeah, dude, I'd take that any day. Like, getting free tuition pretty much is like a dream, but it felt like shit, okay? Like, I was relying on my family way too freaking much, and it felt like shit, you know? I was, like, asking my family for rides. I was asking my family to pay for almost everything in college. My books, my tuition, my lunch. Well, not really my lunch after a certain point. They helped me out with it. And honestly, if I probably asked, they probably would have given me more money to it. But I'll get to that. So, you know, my family was paying for most everything. And I don't know, like, again, that's one of those things where, like, whatever way you look at it, like, it just kind of depends on what kind of person you are, you know? You could look at, like, oh, yeah, that's freaking awesome, my family's paying for everything. The way I looked at it was I was just a complete freaking moocher. I didn't feel good about that at all. So, I'm gonna move on to another reason. Another reason was I wasn't passionate about literally anything in college. Nothing made me feel like, oh yeah, I'm really enjoying this and having a great time. Nothing did that. All my classes just freaking grinded me. Like, I couldn't stand any of them. Concepts of wellness, bright and early in the morning. A gym class that freaking sucked and made you write down absolutely freaking everything that you did in the class. Let's see here. Computer imaging. The class, I really can't say was that bad, but I really didn't enjoy it. Oh my god, English. English, I had to walk from the campus all the way to a little freaking shack house, like, on the side of the road, and get there and sit in this, like, uncomfortable-ass room for, like, an hour and a half, and just listen to droning. It was bright and early in the morning, and it's an English class where people are supposed to freaking talk, you know, and discuss shit that's happening in, like, all the stuff that we're reading, but that wasn't fucking happening. It was bright and early in the morning. Who was gonna fucking talk at that point? I'm getting ahead of myself. So, and I also had pre-calc, which was literally... Okay, after a point, I just got used to it. I didn't like it, but I got used to it. It was literally listening to an old man drone on for 2 hours about math stuff that I didn't care about. But, you know, maybe I'm just a pussy bitch. And culinary? It was something I thought I'd be passionate about, but, you know, turns out I really wasn't. I didn't like working in the kitchen that much as a chef or anything like that. That wasn't really fun, and it honestly didn't seem like something that was really... To some people it's fun, to me it wasn't. And then, how about I go to the fact that I changed majors, okay? I changed majors within the first week. Like, I went to game design. Game design was my OG major that I was going to go for. And that's the thing that I've been wanting to do practically my whole life. I kinda still do, but not nearly as much as I originally wanted to. I just was kind of crushed to figure out that after the first couple of classes, this isn't what I want to do for the rest of my life. I wouldn't be able to stand the work. I don't like sitting behind a desk and programming. Programming is just not for me, trust me. I've gone through 2 years of that shit, and I'm glad I did to figure out that that's not what I want to do. So, yeah, the one thing I've always really wanted to do was just absolutely dick on. I couldn't stand it anymore. So I switched to culinary, and, you know, that wasn't exactly fun. I was fucking running around all over the place, talking to as many people as I could, figuring out what I needed, per se, you know, to graduate and pass the classes that I was trying to pass. And it was just a mess. That's all I can say about the next couple weeks. It was just a mess. I was trying to get my freaking life in order. That's what was happening the entire goddamn time. And it never really got in order. So, yeah, I would basically run around from areas to areas trying to, like, get help for stuff, trying to switch up my classes. Pretty much, I was stuck where I was. I couldn't change any of my classes. Half the classes I was taking when I switched to culinary, really, I didn't even need. Like, what are you gonna fucking do with computer imaging if you're a chef? Like, really? And the thing is, I couldn't change it, and I really didn't want to put in any more effort than I already was. Like, because I was already running myself freaking dry. You know, sucking myself off, sucking that hardcore life force from my sanity. And the thing is that, like, I tried so hard. How about I just move on to a different subject? Lunch. After a while, I really couldn't afford to pay for my own lunch, because I already felt bad enough for, you know, asking my family for tuition, to pay for my books, to pay for everything else. I felt bad enough as it is about that, and I really didn't want to ask any more of them, so I just kind of took my own money and tried to pay for my lunch. That barely worked. I could barely afford to pay for my own lunch, and so what I ended up doing was that I asked my mom if she could start getting me these protein bars. You know, things like Cliff Bars and shit like that. That's basically what my lunch was after a certain point. I'd literally just get a Cliff Bar, and if I had $1, I'd get, like, milk or something. Now, that would fill me up, but that's really freaking bland. You can only have that 2 times before it starts to taste like paper. Like, it just wasn't... It wasn't appetizing, but it was filling. And it was a pain in the ass, because, like, I'm just a really lazy person, and I wouldn't make myself my own food, and honestly, my bag was already filled enough as it was, and I didn't really have any place to store extra food, so, I don't know, I didn't make myself any kind of lunch. So, a lot of the times, I'd end up starving. Oh, and, another thing that happened was, I was just kind of a social outcast. That's honestly how I feel. Some people may say different, like if, I don't know, like one of the couple people in the story I'm about to tell, hear this, they might say otherwise, but you know what? Fuck you. I say what I want. I say what I think. So, what happened after a while was, I never really made any new friends, I guess you could say. I had a couple of friends who I'd known from, like, high school and other things. Like, the really only good part about college was that I was in college with some of my old friends from high school, and that was probably the best part. The only problem was I barely ever saw them. That was probably the biggest issue with that. Our schedules never lined up with each other. We never actually saw each other, or, you know, we never really had a chance to actually communicate, you know? Like, the people I actually wanted to hang out with, they were never available, and that's fair. I mean, they're just doing what they have to do, and, you know, I had to do what I had to do, but I don't know. I never really made any friends either. Like, that's not exactly true either. I made a couple friends, but like it was more along the lines of like we all hated the same thing, so you know what, we just kind of fucking bitched and moaned about it for a while, and that's kind of how we became friends. But that aside, it just wasn't enjoyable. I was a social outcast. Like, people would honestly like look at me like I was some kind of fucking weirdo or creeper or something like that. I was minding my own business most of the time. I didn't really talk to people, but that's just mainly because of my personality. I don't fucking talk to people. Like, that's just simply put how it is. I just kind of sit back and I do my own thing. But it gets kind of lonely at that point, but I'm the only one to blame there. And then there's also this other issue. Like, the friends that I had there, they were people I already had trouble standing to begin with. Like, I used to do computer tech in high school, which was already kind of a college course, and the people there, they went to the same community college that I did, and it was basically kind of like the people that you honestly kind of already despised were your only like way to feel like you could be accepted by anyone, if that doesn't sound edgy. But the only friends I really had were people I already had trouble liking to begin with, and that was just fucking, it was horrible. So after like a couple weeks of college, I was there for 3-4 weeks, probably 3 weeks, and I had made a decision to stick it out till the end of October. And that just didn't end up happening. One of the things you need to know is that from the second day of college, the first day wasn't that bad. From the second day onward, I freaking hated it there. There was no other way I felt. Every single day felt like shit, and I always felt like I should just drop out. I wasn't enjoying where my life was at that point. So I eventually thought to myself, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give this till the end of October, and if I don't drop out until that point, then I guess I'll stay, you know? So if October came, I stay. If I dropped out beforehand, fair game. Guess what ended up happening. So I originally, when I was going to drop out, wasn't even planning on it. I originally was just gonna plan on going to school, dealing with it, and I thought I could actually, you know, make it. But that's not what ended up happening. One weekend, I think the third week's weekend, so yeah, probably 3 weeks of college, I was telling my parents and everything like that, that I'm just gonna give college until the end of October, and that's my plan. If I drop out before then, you know, it happened. They all kind of gave me the same thing, you know, like, I probably shouldn't drop out of college because college is super necessary, and I don't disagree with that. I think college is pretty necessary, but I now believe that it is not for everyone. Like, if you don't believe that college is right for you, do not be afraid to just go out and work. And honestly, like, it just, this weekend, when I was trying to just, like, tell everyone that plan, and I just wanted to tell them that, and just not think about it anymore. I just wanted to take a weekend to relax, and just not think about it. But, lucky me, all that happened that weekend was people wanted to talk about college. We went to, like, a fair, we ran into people we knew from, like, prior years, and they were asking me, you know, how have I been, blah, blah, what am I doing now? And, you know, it was kind of like, if you, like, the best way I can put it is irony. What I really didn't want to happen, fucking happened. And eventually that just kind of like drove me to a point, you know? My mom, she said, you know, hey, I'm making the decision for you. You're going to college. And that honestly threw me over the edge. Just freaking I freaking like just thought to myself after that point, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And so I went in on a Monday, and I just skipped all my classes. I was prepared to go to all of them. I had done the work. I wasn't planning on doing this, and I formally dropped out. And the thing is that like, for some reason, when you just sit around and you just skip class, all the people that made you feel socially outcasted and looked at you funny, or you know, just like didn't talk to you in general, or just kind of like skimped you out, they all came up to me and said, you know, hey, you shouldn't drop out. You'll regret it. And you know, I honestly feel like if I had stayed there, I'd regret it more than what I'm feeling now. I don't regret anything now. And that's all I really have to say. I'll catch you guys later.